I'm 32 and now I own a 7-figure business. But at 22, there was only ever 2 career options: taxi driver or drug dealer. And today I'm going to give you the 8 money lessons that I wish I knew at 22 to save you the 10 years of pain that I had to go through. I'll share my story with you and be as transparent as possible to show you the journey from being broke to successful. Whilst doing that, I'll break down the key lessons that have had the biggest impact in my success so you can steal them and use them for yours. Not only will I do this, I'll also back you up by sharing stories of the most successful entrepreneurs and how these lessons were pivotal to their success too. To everyone telling you you need to work harder, it's an absolute lie. And I'm going to tell you why it's a lie, because my dad actually came here in the 70s and no one's actually worked harder than my dad. When my dad actually came here in the 70s, he worked in the steel factories for 20 years. No one was working harder than this man. He was working 16 to 18 hours per day with 7 kids. Did he end up rich? No. Why did he not end up rich? Well, all of his time was being sold for an hourly wage. The hourly wage that he was making was capped. There was only so many hours in a day. So the only way my dad could make more money was to work more hours. And eventually in the 90s, he then transitioned to be a taxi driver. And then again, he had now had an increase in his basic salary because now he was working for himself and not for a factory. But he was still limited by the hours that he worked. He was continuously working harder. And at one point, he was working 18 hours per day. This man came to the country and he said to me, there was a time where he had to stop midway through his taxi shift to massage his calves because his calves ached that much from driving every single day, driving 18 hours per day. He had to stop and massage his own legs to continue to drive on. Now, there's no one who's working harder than that. If you're continuously in pain and continuously going on, do you still need to work harder? Or do you now need to work smarter? So what was the lesson that I actually learned from my dad? It wasn't that I need to work all the hours. It was actually, hey, I can have an amazing work ethic, but there is more to do. There is more that I can be spending my time doing. I could be working smarter. I can have a bigger vision. So the first lesson was actually to work smarter. You got to have a vision. You got to know why are you actually working? What are you going to do? What is the vision? When you know the North Star, you're then able to then work out what is the quickest and the easiest, and dare I even say the laziest way for me to get there. Because if you are lazy and ambitious, this can actually work in your benefit because you're able to work out how easily can I use technology, can I automate systems, can I delegate? So long hours is not what you need to be doing. You do not need to be working more. You do not need to be grinding as hard as everybody else tells you on Instagram. It's a lie. You need to work out how to work smarter, how to use your time intelligently to learn the skills to then be able to work smarter, not harder. And that leads me on to lesson number 2. Frugality drives innovation. Everyone will tell you, you need to be a baller in spending money. I am frugal by nature. I do not actually spend a lot of money. I spend money on the things that I know will last a long time. I've spent money on everything that I know that will last me 5 years. I will spend the most amount of money. If it's a coat, I'm going to spend maybe £1,000 on it. If it's a camera, I'm going to spend as much money as I need to on it. If it's something that's going to last me a couple of months, a couple of days, I am not going to spend money. But the innovation that it actually allows you to create within your business is, if there's a constraint of money, you now have to work out how to innovate and come up with fresher ideas. When I was building my business, initially in the beginning, I didn't have money for advertising. I didn't actually know how to advertise, and I didn't know how to run ads on Facebook and grow my business like that. But then how did that frugality allow me to be innovative in the way I actually grew my business? Well, what it allowed me to do is go to events and speak to people. If, like everybody else, I was just running ads and acquiring clients through that method, I would not have to be having that innovation to think, I'm going to fly all the way to Alex Hormozi event in Vegas, speak to people at the event and close deals of $30,000 and $40,000 at the event, because that's exactly what I did. And I did that because I was able to speak to people at the events, because there was a frugality in initially spending on ads. Because I knew if I spend on ads without knowing, I'm going to be spending tens of thousands of pounds like many of my competitors do in testing and working it out. And now, once we got the initial uplift of sales and we actually got enough sales, we are now able to hire the best talent to run ads for us. That's an example of frugality driving innovation, rather than thinking about just spend more and just do more with more money. There's a way where you have constraints of money and it allows you to think of other tactics and other ideas to still grow your business. Point number 3 and lesson number 3 is a really big one for me. Facing problems head on. There's so many cowards in the world, and these cowards are CEOs of multi-million pound businesses, and the cowardice CEO does not face his problems head on. They hide behind a team. You may think that you need to be incredibly successful to have courage and to face problems. Facing problems head on is about truly tackling every issue as it comes along in a direct manner. There's no secrets in my company. There's nothing under the rug. There's no elephant in the room. Every time there's a problem, we address it directly. Within my staff, let's say there was something that was to happen and 2 people were to argue and have a disagreement, which is bound to happen in your business. Would I A, sit back and say, no big deal? Or would I make a bigger deal of it than it actually is and then create an issue that needs to be resolved? Why would I do that? Well, I would do that because the small issues that you leave, that you don't tend to, are the ones that actually become bigger issues. Think of every problem that you've had in your life. Think of every single thing, the breakup, the bad relationships, the bad friendships, the bad business that you did, the business idea that flopped. There was early signs that you didn't tackle. There was early signs that you knew it's not working, but you kept going and you ignored them. Being intelligent in business and having critical thinking is about seeing those problems and tackling them head on. It's the cowardice business owner. It's the cowardice personality trait which allows your business to fail. There's only ever 2 problems in a business. There's drama problems and there's math problems. And the drama problems are the internal problems that you have that you're not wanting to fix internally, that you then allow external factors to then destroy your business because you internally did not tackle that problem. If you are tackling problems head on, you will always rectify things and you will always learn from your mistakes, and then you will be able to grow your business. Accountability is one of the key components that you need to have within your business, and if it's a trait of your personality, you will then go throughout your entire 20s being accountable, and you'll be far ahead, you'll be further ahead from all of your friends from school that just stayed and complained, didn't handle their problems, that didn't fix things. And because you tackled every problem head on, you're now in your late 20s and you're richer and wealthier and better than every one of your friends. I'll be honest, I filled so much content yesterday, I had to come back to finish the rest of this video because I want to be super fresh to be able to actually deliver all these points. I'm going to move on to point number 3. Win first, then tell the story. You know, I grew up in sales offices. Every single salesperson who's good is a good like shit talker. They talk so much shit. They talk about all the stuff they're going to do. And at one point, I was that guy who'd be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is my vision. I want to do it. Right. The good thing about thinking like that, if you're someone who thinks of like a visionary and saying all the things that you're going to do to others, the good thing is that it actually means that you're a visionary and you think really big. So that's something that you should definitely congratulate to yourself and be like, it's a good skill to have. But what it does is if you tell people all the ideas, you end up getting a dopamine hit from ideas and not doing, or you get a dopamine hit from learning about all these ideas and not doing. Change how you do it. Get your dopamine hit from doing, achieving, and then telling others. Do it first. You want to be able to win first, then tell the story of that victory. Do not be that guy who's got nothing to show, absolutely no wins, but you talk a big game. You talk about all the things that you're going to do. In my early 20s, I was that guy. I'd sit into sales offices, I'd say, I'm going to be the best seller here, I'm going to do all this stuff. But then it turns out I had to get good as well. So the number one thing I would tell you is first achieve something and then tell others how you did it. That's the number one thing that I have in my YouTube. I only talk about the things I'm achieving and done. If I say all the things like I'm actively doing, that's great, but I'm not really going to teach you those lessons. You can look at what I'm doing right now, but you don't know if it's going to work. Rather talk about all the things that you've done and all the wins. And that's why, like, when you get these, if you're 18, 19, 20 and you're a life coach, what kind of life coach are you? You've not had any life. Actually live. Tell the story of your victories, and that's the best way. The next point is, do not shrink yourself down to make others comfortable. You know what I used to do? And sometimes, I'll be honest, I'm still in rooms where I do it, where I'm in a room full of people who aren't entrepreneurs, who work jobs, and I can't be myself. I can't say, imagine this. I'm in a room full of people who make 2-3 grand a month and they work a job and they're really hardworking, focused people. And I'm there like, yeah, I'm making 100 grand a month, or I'm making 200 grand a month. It just sounds stupid. You don't end up inspiring people. You end up alienating people. You end up making people feel like they're not doing enough. What I'd rather do is just ask questions and get to know people. It's so easy as a business owner to put yourself in environments where you have to shrink yourself down, and I end up in some of those rooms at times just by association, and I don't want to shrink myself down. I want to be around people that make me want to expand and go even bigger. I don't want to conform. If I was conforming, I would have stayed in a job. I would have just worked all my entire 20s working for somebody else. But I learned the skills and then I got out and I actually started implementing for my own business because I didn't want to shrink to somebody else's ideas. I wanted to actually work and do my own thing and have a vision to achieve something big rather than conforming. You can very easily be around others and actually shrink your own goals down, shrink your own desires down. And it happens especially with your family, because my family weren't super driven in business, super driven in making a lot of money. They were just driven in like Asian culture. Hey, you get married and then you have a family. That's it. Having a family is like the pinnacle of achievement. Like, you've got kids, you've got your family. To me, I wanted far more. I wanted to like feel like I can actually take over and do anything. And the more I think like that, the more I think I can even do it, because the things that I'm doing, I achieve, and then I could think even bigger. So now I'm thinking, right, how would I make 100 million? What would I need to do for my business? How would I go into private equity? Where would I learn that from? Because I don't know anything about it once I hit my revenue in my business. So I don't want to shrink down for others. I want to be expanding, and I want to be getting bigger. I want to be doing even bigger things. So you need to put yourself in the right places to allow yourself to have those conversations where you are thinking bigger. And that leads me to my next point of you taking responsibility of your own life. One of the biggest things that I live by is accountability. If your life is shit because you've made it shit. You've made decisions in your life to have it shit. Of course, we all have traumatic experiences. Something shitty happens in your life. No one's going to put that down to, oh, you deserved it. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm telling you is shit things happen to everyone, but you decide if you are going to be a victim. Do you know, there's a guy out there who got slapped about by his dad, and you know, he then said, oh, you know, I'm not going to now have kids because my dad slapped me. And the other person got slapped by his dad and said, I'm going to have kids because I'm going to show them a lot of love and actually going to make an amazing family. You see, the same situation happened to these both people, but one turned into a victim and one turned into someone who's going to pursue even bigger things and do greater things with the challenge and the lessons that he learned. You have to be able to take responsibility for your life and then do it. I hate two things. You know, I'm going to tell you, I was telling my friend the other day, the two things that I hate are sirens and pessimists. Because sirens, I'm living in London at the moment, and just, oh God, all the time there's a siren going off. I go on one little trip and there's police sirens every single place. I absolutely hate it. It just annoys me all the time. And the second thing that annoys me is just pessimists. People who sigh and tired and want to, like, this, their body language itself says they are failing. Like, they might be achieving a lot of things, but their body language, their appearance, everything about them looks like it's failing. And I just want them to take responsibility on their life the same way that I took responsibility on my life. If my life is shit, it's because I've made it shit. If I've made a choice that's led me to failing, then that's my responsibility to fix it. You have to be able to fix your problems. And if you're watching this video and you're getting offended and you're saying, oh, I'm getting offended because my life's really bad, you don't understand my life. Well, if that's the case and you think like that, what are you doing to turn it around? You're probably watching this video because you want some sort of guidance and motivation. Do something to turn your life around, because nobody else is going to do it for you. So you sitting and complaining and thinking nobody else is going to do it for you, it's going to get you nowhere. So take responsibility on your own life. I've got 2 more points, and I'm going to save the last 2 that are super impactful for me. Something that I did, and a big lesson for me, was I used to compare my beginner level journey to other people who are super successful, and I would put pressure on myself. Now, the truth is, good, I put that pressure on myself because I didn't know what good was until I saw somebody else being able to achieve it. Those barriers were broken by somebody else, another human, which means that I can do it too, because they still have a brain and a heart and 2 arms, 2 legs, hopefully. So if they can achieve it, why can't I? But on the same side, if you look at a lot of young guys who look at Iman Ghazi, and the guy's 24 years old, he's got 30-40 million, and he's absolutely smashing his company. And a lot of 21, 22-year-olds look at this guy and think, I don't have that. How am I going to get that in a year? The truth is, you're not going to get it in a year. You're not going to get it in 2 years. He's probably grafted for 10 years. The guy's been YouTubing for 9 years. He's been running agency and he's been running his business for 8 or 9 years. Do you think now, because you're the same age, it's going to happen? Do you compare people to age or experience and skill set? Compare people to your skill set and how long you've done that thing for, not your age. Your age doesn't mean anything, because if age did mean everything, your dad, who's probably failing, would be super successful. The reason why he's failed and you are thinking even bigger is because you've seen that age doesn't matter. It's about skill set. It's about the skills that you gain. My dad worked harder than everyone, which I explained at the beginning of this video. He worked harder than every single person because he was a grafter. He only knew how to graft. He came from a village and came here in the 70s and he grafted his ass off. But was he skilled? Because of his age, now in his 70s, does that mean that he's going to be better than others? No. You're, in one way, if you're watching this video, you're able to click onto a YouTube video. My dad probably can't click onto a YouTube video. But the experience and the skill set is the thing that matters. So that's the thing that you should be measuring. Don't compare yourself at the beginner stage to guys who are more experienced. Compare yourself to guys who have put in the same amount of years than you. Compare yourself to guys who are better than you, yes. But if that demotivates you, then just stop measuring it that way. And the last point is probably going to kill the red pill society, because they're all going to act like a bunch of arrogant assholes. But it's okay to ask for help. These guys online who tell you no one's going to help you, you have to do everything yourself. Everything I've done is because I wasn't afraid to ask for help. I wasn't afraid to network. I wasn't afraid to collaborate with others. I wasn't afraid to meet someone and say, hey, I don't know how to do this thing. Can you show me? But I'd only ever ask them after I've given them their value first. So I can only ask someone for some help if I've done something for them. Either I've paid them a lot of money or I've done them a favor that's worth a lot of money. Otherwise, I don't ask people for any help. But it's good for you to ask for help. If you're young and you don't have a lot of money right now and you can't afford a lot of mentorships, our mentorship's not cheap for a lot of kids. That's why there's not a lot of kids on it. But if you're young and you want to buy a mentorship and you think, I can't buy it, I can't access that knowledge, what do you need to do? Well, you need to get a job. You need to get a job and work for those people, so you don't need to get a mentorship, so you get paid whilst you learn. Or option 2, go and do something small and do something within your means. Buy a smaller course for 500 quid, £1,000, implement it and then move up. You don't need to go and buy something super expensive. If you earn no money right now, zero, and you got no experience, and you're going to go buy a 20, 30 grand course online or a program, it's probably not going to do as much for you as getting a job and spending no money and just spending 3 to 6 months watching how that business learns. I've got a young guy in this business at the moment. He's 19 years old. He's openly said he's coming in to learn and see if he can open his own business. Good. We'll teach him everything he needs to, but during that time we'll have an expectation of the output from him, and we'll have an expectation of what's needed. And when we have that expectation, not only does this person learn what high performance looks like, but he also learns how a company runs, how systems run, how a business owner who's making multi-7 figures runs his business. That experience, who are you going to get it from? When you buy a course, is someone going to teach you how to lead a team? So you have to be able to know when to ask for help. So asking for help in one way could be just getting a job. Help yourself get a job. And most of the internet will tell you, go and just start growth operating, go and open a school community, and everything else will figure itself out. Sometimes you need to learn skills. So find people who are way better than you and work for them and earn money. Joe, those are my 8 skills that I wish I knew at 22 that now I've learned at 32. If you listen to all 8 of those points, well done. I've just saved you 10 years of me grafting. So I've just saved you 10 years. And in return of me saving you 10 years, what I can do for you as an additional bonus is I run a free community. It's called Guided Growth. Click below and I have even more resources for you. If you're interested in joining, you can learn how to become a closer, how to become a setter. There's a full sales training course in that community. You can join and you can access the course. And I truly live to the words that I say. No one's charging you for any of the information in there. The $3,000 course that we used to charge for, it's free. Go and get it. And I'm going to catch you on the next video.